Hello, everyone. I'm Gemma Star, and welcome to another episode of Man Speak. Man Speak is an offshoot to our Heart Warrior series where some of our Heart Warriors come back and they talk for a whole another episode on a subject they're particularly passionate about, embodied in, and able to teach and share their wisdom. Now, today I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome back our number 37 Heart Warrior, and that is Master Coach and renowned author John Gray. Now, we all know John from his first book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and he's gone on to write a whole plethora of books talking about the dynamics between men and women. He also came back a few months ago and did a Man Speak on lasting longer in sex. So go back and see that and his Heart Warrior episode if you haven't already. So today, John has come back to talk about the seemingly complex subject of understanding women. So I'm really happy to be on the other end of that, and hopefully I will learn something as well, no doubt. So thank you for being here and enjoy. Hello, John. How lovely to see you again. Thank you for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be with you again. Happy to discuss things with you.
So we're going to talk about the seemingly complex subject of men understanding women. And I say that because, okay, I'm not a man, but, I see it, I hear it that, women are complicated, difficult to understand. Why is that, do you think?
Well, simply put, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We process information differently, very differently. And taking it out of a metaphor and coming right into biology is that women's biology dictates a lot of what they think and what they feel, what they want, what they wish, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. Any behaviors that actually promote making babies, their body responds with positive brain chemicals and reward systems. Any behavior that doesn't support making babies, they don't get a lot of support from their body. There's in psychology and evolutionary psychology, the whole thing is for civilization to occur, for growth to occur, we have to make babies. And ironically, we see how crazy the world is today, nuts in terms of the belief systems, the direction we're going. And I'm very straightforward. To me, the biggest cause of the craziness is the breakdown of the family unit of man and woman make baby, man and woman stay together to make baby and raise the child with a mother and a father who love each other. That's the ideal, and we don't want to give up on that as the ideal. We can't always achieve the ideal. I'm an American, and we have a constitution which is the ideal. The ability to protect oneself is a right, and another right is the ability to speak one's mind without having to protect yourself. Use your voice to protect yourself, whatever it might be. Freedom of speech and freedom to protect yourself are the two bedrock ideas of a democracy, or freedom, basically, whether you want to call it democracy, whatever system it is, it's freedom. And women have a drive to be free as well, but their need to be free is different from a man's need to be free. Now, I don't have to preach too much to the guys, but as far as we're concerned, I want to be free to do whatever I want, as long as it's not, I don't want to hurt anybody. Men don't want to hurt anybody. They only want to hurt somebody if you're defending your family or defending yourself. It's a rational, logical thing to hurt somebody because they're going to hurt you. You got to protect yourself. So these are all basics of masculinity. So I'm capable of killing people. I've never killed anybody. I could kill, if I'm hungry, I'll kill an animal. I have no problem with that. But it's not like my go-to place I want to go, particularly with people. I've never killed a person. I hope I never have to. But the dynamic is, I've been threatened that people wanted to kill me. I don't know if you know that. Actually, Mars Venus was a very challenging concept, and I got death threats. People were particularly women, the feminist women, they were feeling like I was an evil force on the planet. And now try to understand those women. Well, I'll help you understand those as well. How to make sense of women is kind of the theme you wanted to do. Women are designed to feel good when they're doing things that would promote the ability to make a baby. And that means generate hormones that are necessary to make a baby. The hormones necessary to make a baby are estrogen and progesterone, and a lot of other hormones help. Prolactin helps to feed the baby and so forth. When a woman makes love with a man who loves her and she loves him, they both make prolactin. That's very important. That's a bonding hormone. To get to that bonding hormone, women need a hormone called oxytocin, which is she feels safe in your presence. We all have a male and a female side, so I can even connect to a great extent what women feel if I go to my female side. And I remember when I was in Russia teaching my seminars, and my driver was almost like 6'8", and he was driving a Mercedes and he could barely fit into it. I said, what do you think about this car? Well, it's a bit tight. Big guy. But I have to say, it was one of the few experiences where I felt safe. I am safe. I don't ever have a need to feel safe. It's kind of like you don't know what warmth is until you're in a cold environment and somebody gives you a warm jacket and you go, oh, it feels good to be warm. Well, if you're not missing warmth, you don't even know what it feels good to feel warm. So I remember being with him to relate to the women in my life, which is a biological need to feel safe before they can feel good. I don't have that. I actually have the opposite as a man. I can be in danger and I feel good if I feel capable of protecting myself. The way that would look is, as a kid doing karate, doing judo, doing boxing and whatever. But that was too rough for me. Just for me, driving my car a little faster than the norm is dangerous. You could get a ticket. So then that actually excites me. I don't do it so much now. But there was a time where I couldn't get in a car without speeding because I like so much the feeling of being on the edge. Same thing in my work. I'm rather successful in my money-making life, and part of that has been taking a lot of risks. When I wrote the ideas of Men Are From Mars, which really framed my life, it's something I can teach and it helps a lot of people, makes me a lot of money, makes me successful, makes me feel good. I'm contributing to people, stumbling upon that. But you have to realize that to get to that, I was when I would talk about gender differences, I was learning about it by my experience and so forth, and reading things and so forth, and giving talks on the subject. There was always some feminist in the audience who would blurt out, I'm a sexist, and get mad. And it's like I'm the guy speaking up there as the part of all her dysfunctional father, all the violence which ever been occurred to her. It was all my fault, just. So I actually had to learn to be funny about the whole thing. As I remember, I'm going to say this, but it's not my fault. God made men this way. God made women this way. Not my fault. On the flip side of that, I'm remembering a woman coming out of one of my seminars who was not wounded in childhood, not mistrusting of men traumatically. She came out of the talk and she said, she had tears in her eyes. She said, John, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I said, well, what happened? She says, well, I listened to you and I realized God made him this way. Instead of like feeling like it was her fault, women will tend to, well, they won't always tell you, but they'll take things personally and get defensive. They'll feel like, oh, I failed. And then they get mad at you because, you failed them. There's a lot of confusion that goes on.
John,
when I talk with, go ahead.
I was going to say, like when you talk about safety, the first thing that comes to mind is physical safety, but how important is emotional safety?
Well, that's your leading me right into my message. So thank you so much. As women don't feel the physical need for safety as much. And I gave that example. I don't even ever walk around going, I need to feel safe. I did hear from somebody that women, when they're in a dark parking lot, going out to their car, they will often feel a sense of concern and something could happen. which most people don't feel that way. This whole sexual thing where a woman could be taken advantage of by a man in some way, that's real. And that goes back thousands of years. That's in their genes. So if you want a woman to desire you sexually, which every man wants in their relationship, I want her to desire me. First of all, it's important to understanding women. Women, if they feel really safe and they can depend on you, and they have a history of depending on you for things and of feeling safe, then the hormone testosterone will go very high and she'll want to have sex with you. There's another dynamic. When women are busy in their lives, sort of protecting themselves, not depending on a man to protect them. You see, when a woman depends on a man for anything of meaning to her, the hormone, first of all, to depend on him, you'd have to feel somewhat safe and that you can depend on him. I trust him. He's going to do his best for me. So that's this place of safety, of having you proved yourself to her by showing her in many different ways that you do things, you care about her and you want to please her and you want to provide for her. Okay, so that creates a level of safety that I could ask for more. If I can ask for more, then I can depend on getting more. And if I can depend on getting more from you, getting what I need, getting what I would like, getting what I would want, if I can depend on you for that, and you don't have to be perfect, but I can depend on you for something, that will make her estrogen levels go high. When her estrogen levels go high, and this is not the way a man's biology is at all, but when a woman's estrogen levels go high, that's why you do foreplay. That's why you do romantic gestures. That's why you provide for her many things that will help give her what she can't give herself, or that she doesn't want to give herself. That will raise her estrogen up a lot. When it starts getting close to max, to where she could ovulate, the high level of estrogen that gets produced when a woman makes a baby, the high level of estrogen about 3 days before that, as it getting closer, then another hormone gets produced, luteinizing hormone in her brain, and that goes down and starts producing testosterone. And so high estrogen, and then her testosterone comes in, then she wants you to fuck her. That's put in graphic terms. And she feels it that way too. Any other time without her estrogen being so high and luteinizing hormone, the F word is offensive, it's disgusting, because she's not feeling it. But it's at that place where she goes so high, then we'll just say, do me, but it's really F me. That's what women are missing today to a great extent, unless, and here's the weird thing, unless they feel high estrogen as a result of being afraid. Okay, some women are so afraid of being feminine that they think, oh, I want to be done. So, I was counseling a couple in my workshop. It was like the first time I ever had somebody ask me this, but it was this guy, he's a big guy and he wants to take a few hours to make love. Okay, most men would love to be able to do that. It turns out that the more muscle mass you have, the easier it is to continue having sex without ejaculating. So he's a big mesomorph and he's got all this muscle. And the woman, their problem was she only wants him to pick her up and do it in 2 minutes and be done. Okay, that's it. Okay, she just wants to be effed and that's it. None of this lovey stuff, none of this foreplay stuff. Just do me and then be done. I don't like all this love stuff. This is her. If you use psychological terms, she has a very big attachment problem. Okay, she has a resistant attachment, is that she can't handle intimacy in that case. And she has a problem. Where that is the fear that if I was to open up and depend on someone, then they would leave me. It starts with an insecure attachment, which is, I'm afraid somebody's going to leave me. And since now then it moves into a resistant attachment, which is, since they're going to leave me, I'm not going to open my heart to them. So she's coming from a place of anxiety and fear of trusting a man. Her father wasn't available. There was abuse going on. The mother wasn't happy. So when that's the case, deep inside of the woman, in her subconscious mind, she's afraid of trusting a man. So she's afraid. Now, so when a woman feels safe, estrogen levels will go high, then her desire for sex will increase. But if a woman feels danger, her survival happens by saying, now she's dependent on pleasing me. You see, it's necessary. Can I depend on you to give me what I need? Or can I focus on pleasing you, and then I'll get what I need? So she becomes extremely people-pleasing in that sense, which is she doesn't have the confidence to ask what she wants, to trust that she can get what she wants. She's just going to give you what you want right away and then be done with it. See, I did my job. And biologically, it's true that when women have a lot of fear in their lives, particularly from their childhood, they will tend to feel aroused to the man that will generate that fear. So this is why there's, this is going into the depths of female dysfunction. I'll come back into normal women in a moment. But men have had this experience where some women are real easy to have sex with, okay? And then you feel rather disgusted with them afterwards because they're not really loving you. They're just subconsciously acting like they're super sexual and to please you. But for you to really feel satisfied in a relationship as a man, you need to provide the support she needs to relax, to open up, to truly give herself to you and surrender. So this is a different kind of sex than you see in the movies, slap her around and then put her up against the wall and do her. Some women like that. And these are women who are injured from their childhood. They can't open up and trust a man. So what they're going to do is behave in a way that become very, very sexual. Then she feels safe that you'll be pleased with her. And this is why some women like turned on to guys with motorcycles and outfits that clearly say they're drug addicts and they sell drugs and they're a danger. They get turned on. So there's two aspects of the sex drive in a woman. One is danger. And now we look at what does danger do besides the psychological problem of seeking sex to turn a man on in order to ensure that you're safe. See, that will do it. You get, if somebody is scary, give them what they want, give them cookies and they'll be nice to you. So now let's look at one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is healthy women, the same brain chemicals going on. When there's danger, dopamine goes up. Okay. And when dopamine goes up, women's estrogen automatically goes up. If she feels safe, she'll be able to go up and be receptive in sex. If she doesn't feel safe, she'll just have sex, but you won't wonder, why am I not attracted to her afterwards? Okay. You'll be rather disgusted by it because you really didn't open her heart. And that's what we're looking for, whether we know it or not. Even though this is about understanding women, this is also man speak. As you get older, I'm 72 years old, have a great sex life and everything, but as you get older, you have more self-reflection on what's going on inside of me. So if you ask yourself, I'm an immature guy, why do I like sex? It feels good. It's pleasure, okay? Just like I eat ice cream for pleasure. And that's about where it goes. It's not even good for me, but I do it occasionally because I am not a perfect person and I don't have to be. Sometimes I just want to have something that's pleasurable, that not too destructive. But what I have to do afterwards, I pay a price for it. I'll fast for a day. See, I want to keep my flat belly. Yeah. Flat belly means my testosterone stays higher. My testosterone is twice as high as it was when I was a young man, which gives me a lifetime of libido and great sex, motivation, energy, feeling good about myself. That's all for men. It's about having healthy testosterone levels. And when you have a belly, that belly is always competing with your testosterone to produce estrogen. And estrogen, too much estrogen, whenever you're angry, your estrogen levels are flaring. If you're irritable, your estrogen levels are flaring. And when estrogen flares too high, you're a turnoff to women. Either you're in fight or flight. Flight would be defending yourself in an argument. The other one would be getting angry and being dominant. So anytime you're angry, are you safe? No. Anytime you're arguing, are you safe? No. So what happens is, in your presence, women's estrogen levels go down rather than go up. What you want is her estrogen to go up, and then she wants to have sex more than you. And that's quite wonderful, unless it's the woman who has no intimacy at all, and she's just feeling her power by demanding sex. See, that's a different thing. But it's like when you have a partner and you love them and they love you, and you find, why do I want to have sex? The reason we want to have sex subconsciously as men, or maybe our higher self even, is because sex allows us to feel. When we can feel, then we can feel loved if the person loves us. That's why when you masturbate to porn, you feel, and then afterwards you never want to see that woman again. You're disgusted by her, but really you're disgusted by yourself that you just wasted your life force energy. So what you want is a woman who desires you sexually because she loves you and she feels loved. So this is where we as men ultimately are desperate, if we're single, to have sex. It's not to have pleasure. You can take drugs or whatever, have pleasure. But why you want sex is because sex helps you to feel, and then you can feel a woman's love and support for you. And that makes your testosterone go even higher. And then what you get to experience is high testosterone and high estrogen at the same time, because it's females that turn us on, that give us erections, generally speaking. And so what they found scientifically is that for a man to get an erection even, his testosterone has to be at a certain height, but his estrogen has to start rising. If his estrogen rises too fast, then he's a premature ejaculator. So if you don't want to premature ejaculate, you have to keep making sure that your partner, her estrogen levels are going higher and higher and higher. Because if you know the modern man today, a lot of them, particularly younger guys, they're in a different generation where their testosterone levels, even at 25 or 20% lower than just 25 years ago or 20 years ago. The newest statistic is that the average male at every age group, as it's going down, doesn't have to go down, it can go up. Mine went up. If you practice polarity and great sex, and also get a woman to love you, it's very, very important. A female loving you is going to be the highest stimulator of testosterone. I mean, this is just the force of evolution going forward. But you should never depend on a woman to feel good about yourself. So we're trying to understand women here. But if you depend on a woman to make you feel good, then what happens is that woman cannot open up to you. You're putting pressure on her to be responsible for you. Whenever women feel responsible for you, they're now in the mother mode. I see, these are genes inside of her. You know, if somebody's depending on her, she's now mother, and she feels pressured, and now she's gonna start treating you like a child. Well, you shouldn't do this, you should do that, or why did you do that, or you're not doing this enough. And it's extremely confusing, because ideally she should not go in at all to her mothering, nurturing with a man. She'll resent you for it, and she'll turn off to you, and she can't be sexual, and yet she'll do it. Okay, you know, women say, oh yeah, I'm worrying about him all the time, or I'm doing this, I can't stop myself. The reason she can't stop herself is that guy is looking to her to make him happy.
Yes. And can I just say, John, when we're in that mode, we're censoring and filtering our impulsivity, our natural flow, because we're thinking, well, is he going to get angry if I say this? Is he not going to like this and, react or defend himself or attack, that mode you said. And, we then come out of our feminine because, we're too much in our head thinking, how does he want me to behave? So he, will be happy.
Yeah, so you just you said it perfectly. I mean, this is what's going on inside of women all the time. And what triggers that is not feeling safe. Ultimately, what we have done throughout history as men is we have chosen to do dirty jobs, dangerous jobs, difficult jobs, disgusting jobs that she doesn't want to do. Okay. And so we do it. And what does that evoke inside of her? Massive appreciation, massive appreciation. My wife just loves it when I work really hard. And she says, so that I can support my family, so she doesn't have to work so hard. So when women are working as hard as you during the day, you don't get that benefit. See, my wife doesn't have to work so hard. She still has a job, she works, but I work much, much harder. And she knows that if she wants to work, but if she doesn't have to work, because I am happy to do it, I'm glad to do it, and I'm capable of doing it. Well, guess what, guys? Most of us are missed out on that one, because our culture has changed to such an extent that, you know, it's not that common for a man to be able to go to work and give his wife the freedom to do what she loves to do. She loves her job, that's fine. If she doesn't want to work, that's fine. She'll help in the community. She'll take care of her children. She needs to come from a place of, I get to do what I like to do, what I love to do, what I enjoy doing. And I can do what sometimes sucks, but I'll do it because when I get home, I'm a hero. See, this is the, and it's so funny because this is, you know, you're in Australia. Australia was like the last place on the planet where you could actually, a culture would support you and have your own acre of land, and a man could work and wife could raise the children. It was such a great traditional ideal. It was like it's like Camelot. You know, they all talk about this time in history that where Camelot, you know, where life worked. And we got that after World War II for a brief period of time to lull everybody into sleep, so that then suddenly this weird stuff started coming on us, this very weird stuff. And we're kind of like passively accepting everything because everything's wonderful. But now suddenly our economy shifted, everything's changed. People are living in fear all the time. That's going to cut down a woman's sex drive completely and her happiness. So when I'm saying don't depend on her to be happy, what I mean is depend on yourself. I can be happy without a woman, but I'm happier with a woman. So see, that's the whole thing. I go to my wife to be happier, but if I'm upset with her, it's because she's not making me happy. Not that she's not making me happier. Okay, that's always the bonus on top. I'm self-sufficient. I'm self-reliant. And I know as I say this, not every guy can just jump right into these shoes. I can say it because I spent 70 years, well, not all 70, 50 years developing these ideas, living these ideas, being an example of these ideas, testing out what works, what doesn't work. And for me, I kind of started out in the other direction. You know, I kind of felt in the beginning that my wife giving me a bad mood. Well, that's what women say, because women are more dependent. When you're dependent on someone for your happiness, you have high estrogen. But a healthy woman is going to be more dependent on herself and then depending on you for like dessert. That's ultimately, you know, how does she find that? For us as men, work is the number one thing that produces testosterone, solving problems, fixing things, getting paid, working for money, being responsible, capable. I have to deliver here. Now, it's our culture that says money is so important. Money is just the symbol to our brain that we made a difference. If I get paid more, my brain thinks I made a bigger difference. And that's healthy. But then suddenly you see some of these completely nuts men who, because they started a company and somebody invests because of the stock market that inflates the value of things, you have a company, you can now sell your company for 10 times its value. And then you can amp it up and get 100 times its value. That's the stock market. So you've got these hot cat guys walking around billions of dollars. They're very, very unhappy. You think they're happy. I'm telling you, I'm a counselor. I know what happens in the sheets. They can't make love to their wives. They're impotent. They're arrogant. You know, you look at the guy, Bezos, you know, his wife got rid of him. The woman actually loved him, and now he's on his yacht with 6 women and playing Playboy, whole thing. Yeah, that's fun. There's no question about it for about 6 months. And then now they're taking drugs and they're snorting cocaine and they can't sustain love and their children hate them. You know, this is all part of the fantasy. We see all this happening there. It's the guy whose wife loves him. He's the happiest guy in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I speak from my own experience. And, you know, you come home and you make love to your wife and she's having the best time of her life. Doesn't matter how much money you make. Doesn't matter how much those guys have. They can't stay, you know, having many women. What's that a sign of? You're not satisfied with what you got. It's always not satisfaction, not satisfied. And what frees you, Alan Watts, some of you might know, he's a great, great philosopher. brilliant guy. Do watch some of his YouTube things. Really, really smart. Could never understand women. Couldn't make a relationship with a woman work. And smarts is not enough. But he said when he returned my age, when he turned 70, he said, "I'm so peaceful now." And somebody said, "Why?" And he says, "Because the dragon is dead." The dragon is lust. I can't get enough. I can't get enough. It's my lust died a long time ago. I make love, and I have no lust for other women, no caring of other women. And it's biological. Again, everything happens. The more you have sex with a woman you love, who loves you, your body makes prolactin. And the function of prolactin, it's a hormone that if you masturbate or you have sex with a stranger or a one-night stand or you do porn, any of that, when you do that and ejaculate, your body doesn't make prolactin. Your body actually creates lust inside of you. Prolactin inhibits you from wanting what you can't have, wanting another new woman. This sort of I gotta have it. I gotta have that feeling that some men have. I certainly had it as a young guy. It wasn't like drastic because I was getting it, but I wasn't desperate, but I need to have it. And so I would go from one woman to another till I found a woman that actually wouldn't have sex with me until I earned my way in. We bonded emotionally. We bonded mentally. She truly appreciated me, not in some fantasy hoping to get me, but she actually was appreciating what I could provide for her. Then when I made love to her, my body made prolactin. Now, what prolactin does, it sounds bad in the beginning, but what it does is it lowers your dopamine levels when you think about women. So when you think about women, if you don't have prolactin, your testosterone shoots up and you get horny. So prolactin keeps you from feeling horny. So that's why when couples do love each other over a long period of time, they stop having sex because the guy really isn't that horny. My guys, my age, they don't get erections and they don't get horny. And I say, well, you can learn to have sex and it lasts longer. It's fantastic. And they say, I'm over that. I don't really need sex anymore. It's not that important to me. It's no big deal. Well, what that means is now you're on the declining hill of life. Okay. You're going down. Once you stop making the sex hormones, you can't make babies, even though you're not going to make babies. But if you make the sex hormones of babies, and that's why women, you can have sex more than once a month. Women ovulate once a month. Animals only can have sex when the female is ovulating. So when the female is ovulating, then she wants to have sex. If she's not ovulating, she doesn't want to have sex. Now, what that means is when her body has high estrogen. But women, you can, through relationship skills, you can raise a woman's level up to the same as ovulation, and she'll want to have sex, even though her body is not able to make a baby at that time. So that's what keeps women different from animals, is that we have the power to raise her up so she can experience this wonderful passion, unquenchable passion for making love. And that's what we want. We want a happy woman. So long before that, we want a happy woman. And I know this is trying to help men understand women. So I should talk about how to get into the bedroom, and all that is raise her estrogen outside the bedroom. And when you're raising the estrogen outside the bedroom, then in the bedroom, it goes higher. That will bring your libido back. But it's her high estrogen that brings your libido back, not this immature horniness. Now, as far as immaturity goes, if I'm gone for 2 weeks, I will become horny without a doubt. But I'm having regular sex all the time. And I know how to make sure that the woman is wanting it is by keeping her estrogen levels up. Now, part of the job to do this is women have to learn how to be responsible, to not depend fully on the man for all the estrogen you need. You have to have a life, think of men as dessert, and they don't. Once they get a taste of you, like somebody eats dessert without eating, you want more and more dessert. You just want dessert. It's the high level of feeling, and they get addicted to that. But fortunately, you have a job that you have to go to. You're not rejecting her, but I have to spend time away. You have to find reasons that she doesn't take personally, which is why historically men have always worked outside the house. Chaos happened when men were working at home and the woman was there. Then she's just feeling rejected all the time. She wants that attention. She wants affection. the irony here is that women say, oh, I've met so many narcissists. And what they mean by narcissist is not really they don't even know what a narcissist is. He's a psychopath. But what they have is men who are selfish. They think about themselves. Well, every man thinks about himself, but why do I want to make money so I can support my family? It's always altruistic. Men are the most altruistic. Women are also that. But, they say, oh, I meet these selfish men who just think about themselves. They come to me for counseling, and then they just list out all their complaints. And every one of her complaints is me. He doesn't listen to me. He's not giving me enough attention. I'm not getting enough affection. He's not as motivated as before. I'm getting less. It's complete narcissism, if you want to use that term. So don't tell her that, though. Never say to a woman, you're selfish. We want them to be selfish because then they can appreciate what we have to offer. If a woman does not think about what more I want, what I need, if she doesn't think about that, the love is so superficial. It's so little. I learned about love, and it's two kinds of love. One is the love from your spiritual self, which is just allowing, it's forgiving, it's letting go, it's nothing's wrong, everything's okay. That's a form of love, which is allowing, but it's not gonna cause your dick to go up. She needs to be in her heart. The heart is another kind of love, which is reciprocal, which means she gives, you give, she gives, you give. It's back and forth. It's based upon I'm getting what I want. It's getting what I need. If I'm not getting what I need, I'm not that happy. But the key to it is for women, and we're not talking mainly to women, but for women need to have a life. So she's getting a lot of what she needs. So now she's not needy for you. But it's important for her to need you. And what she needs is what Gemma said a minute ago, is primarily she needs emotional safety. My dad did not need to learn any of this stuff. Your dad probably didn't, or your grandfather, because women needed safety, physical safety, and men were there to provide it. Women didn't have the freedoms to earn money, so he could provide the money, and she didn't have to go out and earn the money. She could do the more of the things she want, which would be the farm, the kids, the being at home, the friends, the family, the religion, spirituality. So much of that is obliterated. And please hold on to your farms. They want to put you in cities and boxes, and don't go there. You already saw what they did during the lockdown. They put you in boxes. This is their plan on a certain level. This is just for people who have money. This is a very efficient way to control. We want more control. And right now they're buying up all the land. They're closing farms. It's on your farms. And Australia was known for that. An acre of farm for every man and family for every wife. You need to have that land. You don't want to be affected so much by the city and all that. I'm just giving some thoughts out there that I have, because I love Australia and I love the freedom that people have there. And boy, were we shocked when they could take away so many of your freedoms. It was amazing. They lull you into feeling everything's okay, and kabang. This is what's going on, whether people are conscious of it or not. I'm not going to go there too far, but with women, they're traumatized by this. Women live in a world of greater fear than you can imagine. Why? Because the hormone that makes them feel good is estrogen. And estrogen, if you're afraid, you think of, what do I need? Where can I go? That raises their estrogen. So expressing negative emotion is also estrogen stimulating, and women feel good. They feel alive when they're complaining, but they can also feel alive when they're happy and appreciated. Both of those things, whether you have positive emotions or negative emotions, women feel good. Now, I didn't finish one idea, and I'm sure it's lingering on some guys' thoughts. Well, why do you want this prolactin that takes away your horniness and your desire for more? Well, the reason you want that is because it makes a woman feel safe. I mean, it's hormones. Hormones are talking. If you're making prolactin, she feels emotionally safe that you're not going off to some other woman, and that she's got you. Okay, she wants to feel secure in the relationship. And you can speak all the words there are, but if your body's not making prolactin, which sends a message to her that you're hers, she owns you and you own her. These are like really key things. Possession, attachment. When you're fucking hard, you're squeezing hard, you want to be inside and you're holding her. That's attachment. She's yours, and she wants to be held. She wants to be owned. If she doesn't admit it, it doesn't matter. That's all just feminist bullshit. The women want to be possessed, and they want to possess you, and that's the commitment. And at the same time, we want freedom. So this is the ultimate. You want freedom and you want attachment. So it's hard to find that balance, but you can find it by giving someone respect. Women, what they really need, they need to feel respected for what's most important to them. And men don't know what's most important to them. We know as men, we want freedom to do what we want to do, and don't tell me what to do. But also, and we want money, we want power, because that gives us the freedom to make a difference. We want that freedom for a purpose to do. Well, women want the freedom to express themselves. They want the freedom to feel safe, to be what they feel, express what they feel, ask for what they want. And they don't always know that. They're terrified to ask for more. They're terrified to say, I want more. They're terrified to say, I'm unhappy about something. They're terrified, but they want to be able to express this, because when they express what they feel, biologically, estrogen goes up. It's real simple. And her stress level goes down. And this is proven. When women are producing stress hormones, their estrogen is low. And their cycle, it changes. Their needs are changing every day based upon a changing hormonal cycle, which makes babies. So towards ovulation, they need to be making more and more estrogen. For the first 5 days, they make testosterone, which is motivation, desire, and estrogen. And then suddenly, testosterone takes the back seat from doing things to needing things and wanting things, wanting support. So for 6 days before ovulation, that's the best time for a romantic date. Just like my wife told me last Tuesday, she began her period. So now I'll schedule it to make sure that about 12 days later, we're going to have the best date of approximate in that range, the best date, because that's when her body needs to be stimulated to go all the way higher to where she potentially could make a baby, even though if it's, even if you don't want one, you're protected, whatever, but still, she needs to have that high level of estrogen. And then naturally her estrogen comes down half, and another hormone comes up called progesterone. And progesterone, if progesterone is low, that's often called estrogen dominant. So this is confusing. You might hear something called estrogen dominant causes women to be suicidal and unhappy and PMS, and nothing is ever good enough. Okay, that's because they have plenty of estrogen, but they don't have enough progesterone. So it's one part of the month, they need more progesterone, more attention, more affection, more understanding from you, a little more romance, so forth, feeling safe, emotionally safe to express themselves, that you're not going to be angry with them, to ask for things, to say what they want. They're afraid you're going to be angry with them. Maybe, Gemma, you could talk a little bit about that. You already said it, but try saying it again.
Well, I've got a lot of experience through this, being suppressed once from expressing myself in childhood and through a marriage that 10 years abusive. And even then, and I found my portal 7 years ago when I started writing poetry and prose and putting it out on Facebook to a potentially world audience. But finally, I was allowed to express myself. And that was such a healing journey for me. And you can see I still get emotional about it because it is so important to a woman. And I do write a lot about this journey. Men don't have to always have all the answers. And sometimes we just want to express ourselves for the point of expressing it, to get it out. It's not necessarily that, we need you to fix it. We just need to release it, to be ourselves, to be allowed to flow in our emotions. And what I've learned is that our emotions can change rapidly. And I think this is confusing to men because we live in the moment of now when we're feeling. So, we might feel angry with our man now, but if we're allowed to just sit with it and flow with it, for women that have done the work, we can get through it all in, an hour or two, depending on, the amount of anger we're holding on to. For other women, it might take them a few days or never, unable to forgive. But, I just know myself, I can go through that emotional roller coaster, but always come back to love.
So let me now give and you said it beautifully. I say it in all my books, I'm explaining to men, is when a woman is talking about what's bothering her. Now, we're not talking you cheated on her or you beat her up or any of those extreme things. We're just talking the daily life, all right? So the daily life, women will talk about their day or talk about what they're unhappy about. And that could be you left your socks in front of the TV, or you forgot to call them, or, you never appreciate what she cooks for you, or you're supposed to do this. You did. These are the little things of relationship. Now, if you want to know what she really needs is for you to have enough abs to just suck it up and say these words. Okay, well, help me understand that better and why that's upsetting. And listen, and don't defend. Don't tell her she shouldn't feel that way. Don't make a joke out of it. Don't roll your eyes, because a lot of that will be what she says will be irrational. It's not logical. You're going to always come from this logical place. Emotions are not always rational because they build up. Imagine you have you say your wife has asked you a few times to pick up your socks in front of the TV. All right, so let's just say that's something that you say, oh yeah, I'll try to remember, and you forgot again. So on one day, she had a lovely day during that day. The weather was great. She was with her friends. She comes home, she sees your socks. And I say, honey, would you pick up your socks? Oh yeah, I'll pick up my socks. Imagine now 10 things go wrong that day. Her car runs out of gas. Somebody mistreats her. She was stuck in traffic. She thought something was going to happen. It didn't happen. She's waiting for a check. It didn't arrive. All these things. The bank account is bounced. She sees rats in the garage. Okay, now she comes in and she sees your socks. What she's going to have is a 10 times bigger reaction. That's just the way biology is. You see, she's building up this frustration during the day, then some little thing where she feels safe because you're safe. You're the guy that she loves. Because she feels safe, she can't just keep putting a lid on it. And so it's going to come out in the tone of her voice. And you're going to think you're making a big deal out of nothing. Is it so hard, to just overlook it or put them away yourself if it makes you unhappy? Then we're going to make some stupid comment like that because we don't understand women. It's called accumulated, it's called overreacting. But see, it's a logical reason why they're overreacting. And the reason they're overreacting on you is a logical reason because you're the best thing in their life. So they feel safe. So it seems illogical that you're going to dump on the person that you love the most, but that's the way it is because you're safe and they want to feel safe with you. And so they're going to share it. Instinctively, it just can come out or it doesn't come out. She realizes, oh, this really upsets him. He doesn't like it. So I should just hold it to myself. I should suck it up and be a man. Because that's what you have to learn to do, men, is when you're upset about stuff, suck it up and say nothing. Don't share negative emotions. Don't talk whenever you have negative emotions. Now, I know nobody's teaching you this. I know everybody says the opposite of this. This is why relationships are so effed up, okay? Is that we're no longer training men to be men and suck it up. And all men's problems are they didn't cry as little boys. Well, that is the truth. As a little boy, you have the testosterone levels of a little girl, so it's appropriate to cry. But after puberty, it increases 10 times more. And if you start crying about stuff, complaining about stuff, getting upset about stuff, what happens is your testosterone just keeps going down, 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 and your estrogen goes up. Any man who's experiencing unhappiness, irritability, anger, frustration, defensiveness, procrastination, all the worst qualities of masculinity that a man can have is his testosterone is low and his estrogen levels are going higher and higher. What you want to do is suck it up, get rid of the estrogen, because whenever you talk about your feelings, estrogen goes up and then you get angry. Because as soon as you're angry, she can't hear or appreciate or see the logic of anything you say. You have to realize you're talking to somebody who can't hear you. And she'll be saying to you, you don't hear me. And it's true, you don't hear her. What hearing somebody means to take on their point of view and not react to it as if you have to change it. Okay, so just hear me. Don't try to change me. So the phrase is, don't try to fix me. It's what Gemma's saying. Some things you want to be able to share what's inside. Now, the key to this is validation. Women want you to validate them. And you're over here going, I can't take this anymore because you don't know how to validate. But what you can do is realize when women are complaining, why they're doing it, it's the same reason you do porn. It feels good. When you do porn, it's making testosterone. That's the dysfunctional form of making testosterone. And then it goes right back down. That's why everybody's testosterone, one of the reasons testosterone keeps getting lower and lower and lower, as opposed to up and up and up. Last thing in the world I would ever do is masturbate. I mean, this would just defeat me. I'd feel like shit. And I did back when I wrote my book. I did it once when I was doing my book on ADD, and porn is one of the causes of ADD as well. So I had to watch porn. Within a minute, it was like I'd just taken cocaine and my penis wanted to be stroked, just like I couldn't even stop. It's an addiction. You free yourself of addiction through love and prolactin. And you might ask the question, which I keep forgetting to get to, well, if you have all this prolactin, John, you're not horny at all. Well, why do you have sex? Because I'm turned on to my partner when she is in the mood, or when she's around me, or when I get in bed with her. I just get turned on. I kiss her goodnight. Now I'm turned on. I just have to connect. If you get to see, most couples will feel passion for each other in the newness of the relationship. We're just talking most, because it's new and different and you're challenged. New and different creates increased testosterone in men, increased estrogen in women automatically. We talked about the dark side of relationships before, about when women feel in danger with a man, with the wrong man, a man they feel she have to please rather than she can be pleased by. When she's over there trying to please him, she's afraid that will produce estrogen because it's dangerous. He's dangerous. I can't get what I need, so I have to earn it. So that danger is also a major dopamine stimulator, and dopamine will push up testosterone in men and estrogen in women. So when you take away the danger, which means you're a good guy, that's the first thing. Second thing is when you make love to your wife and you have prolactin, now you don't have that strong desire to have sex. What are you going to have sex? Well, what happens then is the woman is feeling safe all the time. So she's more interested in having sex with you than you're interested in her. All it takes is a kiss from a woman with high estrogen, and you're putting out prolactin because she feels safe, and you get turned on right away. It just comes up in the moment. It doesn't bother you at any other time. It's like, when the situation is where you can have sex, it's right there on command, no problem with it. And so what creates that? Why is it there? Because my message, and to really get this, read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, read Beyond Mars and Venus, teaches you these hormones and more deeply about women. If you're dating, read my book, Mars, Venus on a Date, right up there. That's really the skills of seducing a woman and winning her over, which is what Gemma is just saying. Be a man who's safe, who shows interest, and get her to talk, ask more questions. She's going to ask you questions, give short answers, and ask more questions of her. Show interest in what she's feeling. You win her over. Plan things, do little things for her. This is like the key to the whole dating process of winning a woman over. But it doesn't stop when you're married or you're in a long-term relationship. You need to do these little things. One of the key messages I can give real quickly is, on Venus, every act of love has the same estrogen reaction, big or little. Okay, so if you do something big, you're going to get an estrogen reaction. It sure stays up for a couple of days and it's gone. Bring her 24 roses. Oh my gosh, estrogen goes up. He thinks of me, I'm beautiful, he likes me. Give her one rose. It's going to go off almost the same. I just brought you a rose. You put it together. When I teach my seminars, I always give every woman a rose if they're the smaller seminars. And then I'm teaching a seminar again. I said, how many women have kept the rose? They all have kept the rose. A rose is a rose. I mean, it's a symbol of love. Every time you put your arm around her, every time you ask a question of her, that's a surge of estrogen. Every time you plan a date with her, that's a surge of estrogen. You can plan a huge date, same surge as a little date. It's taking the time to consider her, to think about her. What women are looking for, what creates estrogen in women, is messages that say, I care. That means you're interested in what she has to say. Hard to be interested in some of the stuff she has to say because you don't relate to it. It's not your experience. But you can relate to the emotion that she's probably feeling, which is like she's saying, oh, there was so much traffic, I was so late. Oh, I get it. It must be so frustrating. If you're the whole time when she's listening, try thinking, okay, what emotion is behind what she's saying? you will be busy solving the problem because she needs you to understand what her emotion is. Women pay me lots of money just to come to my office to help them understand what their emotions are. They don't realize that. They just want to feel good. But when you validate an emotion, estrogen goes way up. When you validate a story, it goes up a little bit. So women have all these stories. They want to tell stories. It produces just enough estrogen to want to have more and more. But when she's telling her story, you're sitting there, am I supposed to just listen and do nothing? No, you're going to help her out. How do you help her out? You're kind of think of yourself as a highly paid therapist, which is what I am. And what your job is to help her identify her emotion. Now you're not going to tell her, I'm trying to identify your emotions, but what you're trying to do is validate what her emotions are. And so as opposed to validate the story, maybe the story she has is, oh, my job is awful, it's just no good. Tomorrow that story will completely change. Oh, today my job is fine, it's wonderful. The story is always changing with women. But what you do to validate it, you might say, well, women will often say, I remember Bonnie used to say, we never go out. I said, what are you talking about? Last week we went out. So that would be a story she's telling herself, we never go out. So all I have to do is simply say, that must be so disappointing. Tell me what you want. See, that's the end of the conversation. As she starts telling you what she wants, she's going to remember, what I want is to do what we did last week. so they would come back. Don't try to change how a woman feels. And particularly alarm bells should go off whenever she uses these little words like, you never do this, you always do that, or I'm always doing this, or no one helps me. These hyperboles just mean she needs more estrogen. So what you do is when she's overreacting or creating hyperboles, don't react. Do just the opposite. Don't react. Instead, ask more questions. Well, tell me more. Help me understand that better. Well, what else? And just be there. Realize that you're going to get a big medal. I always imagine this big golden ribbon, first prize. When my wife is talking or upset, I just have to remember that if I can sustain listening without her being upset, without me getting upset with her, next time this is going to be shorter. Gemma said, it could be 2 hours, could be 2 days, whatever. You're not going to listen that whole time. But basically, you have your own limit, and your limit will extend. Like some men can only last 2 minutes in the vagina. You're done. You want to be able to go for hours on the special occasions, at least. And she wants you to go that way. You have to have sustaining power, and you build it. This is one of the ways you build it outside the bedroom, is by when she's talking, knowing I want as many words to come out of her as possible. That's going to raise her estrogen levels up, as long as I don't go angry. But there will be a point, because I'm not skilled at this. For me, I can do it without getting angry. But it took a long time to do it because I was busy while she's talking, analyzing, all right, what emotion is she feeling? So she's exhausted, okay, that must be so tiring, frustrating, isn't it? Yes. And I listen some more, and then she'll say something. I go, oh my gosh, that must be a big concern. Tell me about your concerns. What are you worried about? And get her to talk more, but bring the emotion into it. Then you feel like you're solving her big problem, because she needs to connect with emotion. Emotion, positive or negative, sends her estrogen levels soaring and brings it down. Even if the emotion is, I'm so scared, you would think that would raise her stress level, but it doesn't. It begins lowering her stress level to say, I'm so scared. And one of the things you can say, which I'm going to give you, a short period of time, my ultimate technique, and the reason I say it's the ultimate technique is, one ultimate technique is polarity, because everybody runs out of passion because they're depending on new and different. And once new and different this new partner, then you're thinking of other partners to get turned on. Then you might be watching porn together, the stupidest thing in the world. You want to be turned on by her, but give her secure she turns you on. And then you want to do role playing. Okay, pretend I'm the postman, and then pretend you're this. This is fantasy, and it will activate more feelings because it's not real. Not real is not, it's a dopamine stimulator. Just like the phone, which is not real. The news, much of it is lies. It stimulates dopamine that gives energy. But you don't want to have to, what it degenerates into is now she needs a vibrator to stimulate her. Now she's got a robot. She's helping you have sex with a robot rather than you're giving her the pleasure. Now there's a robot doing it. Now we We need to bring in another partner, and polyamory starts coming in because couples aren't getting enough passion together. So let's all join together and create that drama. And I'm telling you, it's going the wrong direction here. And now you can do S&M, you can do all of that. And I need something to intensify it. We need more drama with the whole thing. You can have massive passion. I'm screaming my head out. For me, fortunately, my wife, we live on 3 acres, so the police would come every night. It's like the passion that's inside of women is unbelievable if you harness it. And they feel like they're dying, and yet more and more, they're getting out of their mind into their body and letting their body be filled with aliveness and so forth. This is all possible as you, as a man, learn to take her higher and higher. But what allows me to go to that place again and again is not newness. Same person. Don't need anything other than her. And that is polarity. If you take a masculine, a positive pole and a negative pole, and you put them somewhat close, you don't feel much attraction. Okay, so I'm walking through the day. I like my wife. I enjoy being with her. But as soon as we get naked or in bed alone, it's like take 2 magnets and you'll see right that last moment, they click. And it's intense, so it's not like I'm walking around horny all the time thinking of it. No, I love her. She's my partner. It's all just like with your grandparents or whatever. They like each other. But when they got into bed, they just rolled over. They didn't just turn into passion just coming back. So that's what you want. It's the polarity of you being more masculine than her. What does it mean to be more masculine? It's to not take things personally, be able to detach. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means I'm not getting upset over this. I'm not going to worry about this. I'm going to behave in a way that's productive. And I'm telling you what's productive. Validate the emotion, ask questions, draw her in. Don't get angry. If you're angry, you can't help it. We're not masters of everything. It's like throwing a basketball into the hoop. When it comes to relationships, I've gotten to the place like an NBA player where I can throw it in the hoop almost every time, just one after another. But this took years of practicing. You're just starting to learn about understanding women. So you're going to miss the ball many, many times. So she's talking and you're going, oh, God. And some men think she never stops. Well, if you analyze it, she keeps going on and on because you keep interrupting her with some comment or some reaction or something. And it's like the needle on a record going this way. And you almost get to the end, but then you interrupt. It's like, so what's the point? And it starts all over. Okay. She needs to feel this sense of being heard. And that's part of her own journey of learning to do this. But at least what you can do is you can help her. You can't fix it. You can help her. And these are the tools to help her get to that place. But what you have to realize, the ways you ruined it, made it very hard for her to find her way. It's just by getting angry or being bored or rolling your eyes or minimizing. And some men just say mean things to their wives, like you're fat, or, you should go to the gym, or how can I be turned on to you if you don't do this and this? Or you complain, yesterday you said this, and, I'm just gonna, can't ever open my heart to you again. You can feel those things and then overcome it, but don't tell her those things. Women hold on to stuff. They've got a hippocampus is twice as big as you. Under small stress, she has 8 times more blood flow that goes to the hippocampus, and she remembers all the negative things you've said. And you've already done enough. What you want to do is just keep her in your presence, to retrain her brain to go, I'm safe in your presence. Then her brain doesn't go to all the mistakes you've ever made. And sometimes she might have to talk about it, but as long as you don't react and say, help me understand it better, she'll start remembering all the good stuff. I learned this with my wife. I was giving her a 6-second hug, non-sexual 6-second hug. That's proven to increase oxytocin. So you got to just get in there with that nice hug and hugging her. And she said to me, this is when I was learning about hugs and practicing. She said, I don't know what you're doing, John, but that hug, I was really annoyed by you about some things you said yesterday and sort of holding it on. But then something shift took place and I started remembering all the nice things you do. So thanks for the hug. And I go, this hug stuff works. Non-sexual hugging, priming her oxytocin levels, creating safety for her estrogen levels to start coming up, and reflecting on all the good things that you do, as opposed to reflecting on the negative things that you've done. And this is, women are just vulnerable to their biology. And you can manipulate it in a nice way, basically help create safety for her. If you did not get angry, and inside even, if you were not angry about what a woman said, if she was just complaining, she could not continue. She can't continue. She can only continue if you're resisting. Think about this. When you push your hand out against somebody else's, if you push, they're going to push back. This is just it. And I tell women this all the time, please back off on all these complaining, because when you're complaining, you're trying to change a man. He's just going to resist back. And so what we have to do when they do that complaining is not get stuck into resisting back, but like use karate moves, which is deflect and deflect. And the way I deflect, and sometimes duck, but the way I deflect is if I don't resist, she'll change her mind more quickly, because emotions are irrational to a great extent. Once they're heard, her estrogen level goes up. She comes back to being a balanced, logical person who realizes she's making a big deal out of nothing, and let it go. But don't tell her she's making a big deal out of nothing. If I was talking to women, I would tell women, hey, if you're going to complain to your husband, first tell him, hey, I just want to talk for a few minutes. It's not a big deal at all, but I'll feel good by getting it out. So you have to just imagine she says that to you. And, get her to read my books where I'll tell her, if you want communication to work, don't amp your emotions up, because our reaction is always to push them down. And then her reaction is to push them up higher. Our reaction is to push them down. Don't get in that game. That's where you got to duck and dodge, ask questions, and validate emotions. Just always looking. You got to stay busy doing something. Most men, you want to solve the problem and tell her why she shouldn't be upset. What I'm suggesting you do is help her understand what emotion she's feeling without saying, I'm going to help you understand yourself better. No, just ask questions. Help me understand that better. That must be so hard. Oh, that's so difficult. Oh, that's so frustrating. Oh, that must be so disappointing. Oh, I can see why you feel sad. See, it's a validation of emotion is what lowers a woman's stress level, because it massively increases their estrogen levels. And their estrogen levels are so low is because they're on their male side making money or solving problems. And our culture that pushes men down, which says men aren't safe. It's just in the atmosphere. It's all changed. We used to be the heroes. So now women are afraid of men. And if she grew up with a father who divorced her mother, certainly there's a lot of good reason to not trust men. So we see this happening in our culture. We can undo it, but it's us who are going to do it with you applying these skills. But with a compassionate thing, I would not stand a chance if my wife did not read my books. Okay, just would not stand a chance. Women really have the power. All we can do is help them find their power, because what we need from them is love. And if they're pushing us away, what can we do? You do your best, but then you try to read my books in front of them. Let's read this together. It's fun for her to. You can't be her teacher. Okay, you can't be her teacher. Women want to be equal, and they think they put so much more into relationships than you, and they do from one point of view. It's just what they put in is not effective, and we put in more than women from our point of view. We're working hard so the relationship can work. So, but that's not enough today. It's not enough just to make money today or work hard for your partner and so forth. You have to have some of these relationship skills, which the big payoff there is, I'll fly around the world for $60,000. The Chinese pay me $60,000. Okay, I'll get in a plane. I'll fly wherever it is. You don't mean to go do it. I won't do it without the bigger payment. The big payment is you're going to have great sex for a lifetime if you suck it up and do these techniques I'm teaching. They will work. But I mentioned to you, you're going to miss the ball. Okay, that means she's talking, and you're going to end up trying to give a solution. Well, why do you think that? And you'll be a little frustrated. Then she's going to resist you and tell you something. And then you're going to resist that. And you think she should, she's going to keep rejecting every solution you have. It's just going to make you more and more frustrated, which will turn into anger. If you get even to the anger level, and for some women, even at the frustration level, they'll shut down just because they've seen men who are frustrated become angry. Because after frustration, if it persists, that means in your body, adrenaline is now turning into cortisol. So my frustration turns into anger when I'm in a fight or flight. Before that, I'm just frustrated. But after frustration, if it doesn't get resolved, if I can't let my frustration go, it will turn into anger. And you're sitting over there asking, tell me more, help me understand that better. And you're getting angry and angrier. No, that means you're missing something in your listening skills. So what you do at that point is you say, look, I want to think about what you're saying, and we can talk about this tomorrow at lunch. Okay, I really want to hear the end of it. Give her a time, give her a place. I'm thinking about it. I'll be back. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. This is give her that reassurance, and sometimes even say, we'll talk about this. I really need to think about this before I can go a step further. And then she's going to say, why? Are you angry with me? No, I'm not angry. Anytime you're annoyed or peed off a little bit, whatever it might be, she's going to say, what's the matter? What are you feeling? Do not tell her. That's the death. Never tell her anything negative inside of you. You're starting an argument. If, are you upset about this? And I say, well, if I actually said the truth, well, I'm annoyed that suddenly you decided you wanted to do this again. And last time you said you're going to do it, then you stopped doing it. Okay. So that'd be something in my relationship. She says, I want to be a painter. And so she's starting to paint. And then she decides, I'm done with it. We're finished with it. And then she comes back and says, well, I'm going to go buy a new easel and I'm going to go do this stuff. And so a part of me is just like, really, do we going to go? So I'm annoyed. That's all it is. I'm not mad at her or anything, but I'm annoyed. She's going to say, what are you feeling? I think you're mad at me. Are you mad because I said this? No, I'm not. What is it? Tell me what it is. And I just say, well, I'm kind of annoyed. Well, why would you be annoyed? Am I not allowed to do what I want? Anytime you have a negative emotion, bang, they're the worst. They're going to come back with all this analysis. Why would you say that? But I did this because of this. And don't you realize I do this? And that doesn't make me feel safe. And how can I be myself if you're going to get angry with me? My father got angry with me. And you just open a can of everything if you share negative emotions. Don't do it. It's stupid. Yeah. And they got everybody, they're going to say, I know you're feeling something. You say, oh, actually, I'm just thinking about what you said. I need to analyze it a bit. Or I'm thinking about, today I was reading this book, just make it up, and there are other things we think about. I'm thinking about the war and what's going on over there and what they should do. Oh, you're not upset with me? No, honey, I'm not upset with you. It's just I'm a little distracted, but sure, go ahead and do that. I feel fine about that. I'm just annoyed about something else. Boom. That's it. Do not go in there. Now, women will say to me when they're in the room and I'm teaching this, well, I want to know what he's feeling. I said, no, what you want to know is he's not mad at you. That's it. That's why women want to know what you're feeling. They want to know that you're not mad at them. And you're not, basically. You're just feeling a little annoyance, a little irritation, or it's a fleeting moment of anger. You can let it go. They don't know you can let it go so quickly because they can't. See, women need to talk about it. They need to get it out. Then they can let it go. So if you're feeling angry, she thinks she needs to get you to talk about it, not knowing that if a man talks about his feelings, if he is starting to get angry, he will get angrier. You don't just get better. When men talk about their feelings, estrogen goes higher. That is the function of talking about your feelings, sharing what's inside of you. Your estrogen levels go up. So let's take another example. Go ahead.
I love that. And, just from the women's perspective. So if a man gets angry, we start feeling the possibility of rejection, abandonment, or danger in some way because, well, he either could become verbally violent, physically violent, reject us, abandon us. And I think that's why once the man comes into, expressing his anger or disapproval, and that way that, it switches on some level of danger in us.
Yes, absolutely. And then you have to hear this and get. Now, here's something now, which let's just say you're not even annoyed. You're just thinking about what she said. You're just thinking about what she said. What happens when men think about it, their estrogen goes down and women stop feeling the connection. So this is really, really important. Just she's talking in the middle of talking. You're going to really do, should we buy the paint supplies or not? You really think I'm not mad at her or anything. Is this really something we should start over again? So I'm just analyzing. But when men analyze, they stop making estrogen. And estrogen is necessary for women to feel connected. You have to have some estrogen. So a lot of men just start thinking and we get quiet. We start thinking. Women panic. They freak out. What are you feeling? What's going on inside of what you're feeling? And he'll say nothing. And are you sure it's nothing? And now you're not being trusted. Now somebody's poking at you. You'll start feeling annoyed that she's even asking these questions and that she's dissatisfied with you because you disconnected. Now, what I teach women to do, and you can teach the women to, whenever you panic, and feel like I'm detached and you think maybe I'm angry, just ask me. Just simply say, you're thinking about it, aren't you? And you'll see, I'll say, yes, I'm thinking about it. And you'll feel that reassurance you need. So, we covered a lot of topics here, but the key thing here is I'm gonna leave you with a technique that's not in any of my books. Okay. So, I'm always evolving, getting better and better at this stuff. And, my wife now is my wife, 34 years, Bonnie passed 5 years ago, and I'm in a new marriage, a few years. And I'm like a master of relationship, right? And she came from a marriage in the past, which the guy wasn't. So compare me to him, I'm like a billionaire, something like that. So she counts her lucky stars all the time. She says, you're like a diamond, you're a diamond. And I said, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I like being appreciated, of course. And she says, but you're such a diamond, I'm afraid of losing you. And so I'm afraid of losing you. So I figured out this technique. So the technique is not to tell me, I'm afraid of losing you and scared. What you do is instead, it's called the reassurance exercise, reassurance process. And so basically almost every day I tell her, fine to do this, it's good. Is you say to me, do you love me? And I say, yes, I love you. How much do you love me? I love you with all my heart. Are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. I love you so much. Well, today you were working so hard and I went shopping. Are you sure that it's okay? I said, absolutely, honey. I love to work hard so you don't have to work hard. Is that true? You love to work hard? Yes, it's completely hard. And today I made so much money. And so you can go spend some of that money and it's fine with me. Are you sure? And do you really love me? Do you think I'm beautiful? Do you really like me? Are you sure you still like me? Are you still as turned on to me as you've been in the past? Absolutely, honey. It's a yes to everything. And it becomes, like Gemma, you're talking about women need to express what's inside. That's the deepest that's inside of women, which is this insecurity. Are you still angry with me? Do you forgive me? Do you like me? Do you enjoy being with me? Would you start this relationship over again? Are you so happy to be married to me? See, these are things that many women I have to coax into being aware of it. But as Gemma, can you relate to some of those insecurities coming up?
Definitely. I don't think I'd feel that I would have to say all that every day just because I've
No,
done.
you don't. Not
I mean,
every day, but it's because you haven't done it yet, by the way, when something feels really good. And you don't say all of those things. You say all of those when you're having sex. See, what you do with sex and making love is going to higher and higher and higher levels of estrogen beyond anything. And that's how you get deeper and deeper inside of a woman as you go deeper and deeper into her insecurities. That's the thing that women hide the most. What sex is taking down the barriers. But you do see that there is that insecurity that you have sometimes with a man.
Yeah, because it always this issue of safety, rejection, abandonment, or physical, verbal harm. So, I guess that plays along beautifully to reassure us that, we're safe.
Reassurance is everything. So you may not be able to get your wife or girlfriend guys to do this. You need me to train them to do it because they resist going there. But it's usually women think, well, I don't think he'll want to do it. And that's part of your reservation as well. What man wants to do it? See, and because we don't want to do it, we don't understand the value of it. The value of it is if my wife was to say to me, just randomly during the day, do you love me? My first reaction, of course I love you. Why would you question that I love you? What's the deal with that? That's why this is called the reassurance process. It's a process, and the context is, I know you love me. I know you think I'm beautiful. I know you're not mad at me. I know all those things intellectually, but emotionally, I have insecurities. And certainly your insecurities may not be as much as my wife's, but she explained to me, John, you're a diamond. I'm afraid of people. So it's very complimentary to me. So if a woman was to convince her husband to do this, all she has to use is that line, which is, you're so important to me, it brings up my insecurities. And it's this is what made me a monogamous husband. Is in the beginning, I'm traveling around. I came home. I told my wife, honey, logically speaking, when I'm away for a couple of days, a woman knocks on my door in lingerie and wants to have sex with me. It's just sex. It's not that I love her. I'll never see her again. Would you give me permission to do that? Because that did happen. And I came home. I didn't have sex with the woman, but I came home. I said, honey, this happened. would you give me permission to do that? Even though I'm monogamous with you, you're the one I love. Sex is not necessarily about love. And she told me, she said, John, I don't want to be your mother. I don't want to be your controller. I don't want to tell you what you can or can't do. All I know is that if I thought or knew that my husband was out having sex with young women, throwing themselves on him, I would become terrified and afraid of losing you. And I would begin to close my heart, and I couldn't grow in trusting and opening my heart and letting your love in. And there's a reality to that. There's every relationship have its moments where you have to overcome hurdles out of commitment. And if somebody's over here and somebody's over here stroking my ego and giving me everything I want, it's really easy to compare that with your partner who's got her issues. So that's what commitment's about. You stick through it. And that's what creates testosterone in a man, is his commitment. But I have such compassion for men today who want to be committed when you don't have these skills of how to soften a woman, how to open her up, how to keep her open, how to provide the support she needs, and the knowledge of how we unknowingly sabotage our relationships. We don't consciously sabotage our relationships, but we unknowingly doing it by not understanding where women are coming from, what they're needing most, what's most important to them, and how we may unknowingly shut her down. And to a certain extent, they're all already shut down by having to be like men in this culture. Feminism has sort of taken over women. And there's good aspects of feminism and not such good aspects. Equality is a great, great thing. But in order to be equal, we don't have to be the same. We can celebrate our differences and learn to respect our differences. And I hope, men, that you've got some good ideas to work with and some encouragement to check out my books, Men Are From Mars, Beyond Mars and Venus. Another one, which I think, even though you think you're all the masters of sex, if you're not having regular sex because she loves it, try reading my book, Mars, Venus in the Bedroom, or going online at marsvenus.com, where I have a really enjoyable course on secrets of great sex. So that's there as well. And it's got little very funny quizzes that you do with your partner, or you can just do it alone. But it's very educational and very informative about women understanding men, men understanding women. Reading my books together helps women begin melting into a place where she's willing to do a lot of this stuff with you, because often they're not. I find women much more resistant than men. Give men a logical argument, we make sense. Okay, hey, if that makes sense, I'll try it out. Whereas women, it's like when you tell them you're doing it wrong, they go, but I put my heart and soul into this, and it doesn't work because of men. And I realized, no, it doesn't work because the way you approach men will always create resistance in men. So there's a real goal. I mean, if I could say one thing, take out of this, besides help me understand this better, tell me more, what else? Don't get angry. These are key factors. Stop doing porn, make love only with your partner. These are the real powerful takeaways. But I'd say the most important, because you're dealing with women who actually resist this more than men, if you use logic with men, read my books together with her and let her talk, and then say, help me understand that better. Tell me more. You'll soften her up. You'll bring back her estrogen. She'll be so grateful to be with a man like you. So those are my thoughts.
Absolutely amazing. I just adore talking with you. Thank you, John. And as always, I learn a lot. And you've got a lot of other stuff on YouTube that I do watch. So, always such great insights and takeaways. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Jenna. And thank you, men, for being a part of this course. We need more enlightened men, and they all have the potential, but they just need to upgrade their I want to say upgrade their guns. Bow and arrow isn't working anymore. We need to have more modern skills and tools to work with women today. And rather than kill them, we hug them and love them. Thank you again, Gemma.
All right. Thank you, John. Have a lovely day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. So, great takeaways there from the amazing John Gray. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back maybe I'll do a few more episodes of Man Speak. I have had a bit of a break. You can let me know if you want more or if you've had enough. We've got really good content now. We've got 99 Heart Warriors with our 100th ready to be scheduled. And I think this is about number 35 of the Man Speak series. So lots of information there. Great resource for both men and women. So thank you for being a part of it. Bye.